Hello everyone. Apologize for the length of this one. It's going to be longer than the last one. I apologize. Like I said, I'm trying to keep them short, but it's kind of inherent to the topic. I apologize in advance. You're going to get questions that look like this. First off, they have a typo. You don't have -0, okay? So if you see something that's goofy like that, just think it's a typo, okay? You don't need to do anything with this right away. All you have to do is go down and look at the graph and what the questions are. Okay? They're asking you to find the limit as x goes to 0 from the left. As x goes to 0 from the left, your x value is 0, which is right here. Okay? So you're approaching from the left. Your y values, as you move at it from the left, are going to be increasing up here and then coming down and getting closer and closer and closer to the value of 1. So your limit from the left is going to be 1. It doesn't matter that the point has been removed and placed up here. It's as you get closer and closer and closer to the value of 0 for the x value, what are your y values getting closer and closer to? They're getting closer and closer to the value of 1. As you come at it from the right, as you come at 0 from the right side, the y values are increasing up to also the value of 1. Okay? Notice on this one, they aren't giving you either from the left or from the right. This is what most of your limits will actually look like. This is a one-sided or one-handed limit, a left-hand or a right-hand limit, a left-handed limit, a right-handed limit, because you're approaching from the right side or approaching from the left side. Okay? In order for this limit to exist, it has to be the same number from both sides. So really, to ask this question, you're really doing both of those. They are the same number, so your answer is 1. Well, what if they're not the same number? We'll get to that. That's coming. I'll show you some pictures in a minute. Okay? Now, they want to try and distinguish between what these limits are asking and what is the value of the function at 0. The value of the function at 0 is 2. That is the value at 0. It's 2. But that's not the limit as you approach 0. It's 1 because the individual limits from the sides are 1. They're both approaching 1. The fact that you took a hole punch and punched that hole out and placed it up here doesn't change the fact that you're approaching 1 from both sides. Okay? Come to the next one. Again, don't worry about that information at the top. Just answer these questions here. Okay? What is the limit as you approach 5 from the left? So here's the value of 5. What are your y values you get closer and closer and closer to as you approach 5 from the left? So your y values are going down, 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 and they're getting closer and closer and closer to the value of -3. Again, doesn't matter that they took a hole punch, punched the hole out, and placed it down here. The limit as you approach 5 from the left is -3. What is it when you approach from the right? So as your x values get closer and closer from the right, your y values shrink and then start to grow a little bit until you're getting closer and closer to the value also of -3. So what is the plain old ordinary regular limit as x goes to 5? Again, these have to be the same numbers in order for this limit to exist. -3. Then again, they're trying to make the distinction between what's the limits and what is the actual value of the function at 5. The actual value of the function at 5 is -4. Right? Let's do the next one. Alright. What's the limit as you go to -6 from the left? So as I approach -6 from the left side, my y values are shrinking. Now, let me back up and use some words here. These are discontinuities. A discontinuity is a place where the graph is broken. These are discontinuities. Limits don't have to happen at a discontinuity. These prior two have happened at a discontinuity. It doesn't need to. Okay? This one, there's no discontinuity as you approach negative 6. There's no gap like this. There's no hole in the graph. Okay? It's all right. It's fine. You're going to see what's going to happen in just a second. As you approach negative 6 from the left, the y values get closer and closer and closer to the value of negative 4. As you approach from the right, the y values grow and get closer and closer and closer to also a value of negative 4. So what is the limit as you approach negative 6? The limit is negative 4. If they ask you, which maybe I missed it and didn't copy it, what is f of negative 6? It's also negative 4 because it exists there. That is the value of the function at negative 6. So in that case, all of these things would match. Whereas in these prior ones, they didn't match because at this point, there's a discontinuity, a break. Right? So if there's no discontinuity there, all of those things are going to be the same number. Right? So let's try this one. What is the limit as you approach negative 2 from the left? So as you approach negative 2 from the left side, as you're approaching negative 2, as you're getting closer and closer to the value of negative 2, your y values are growing up to the value of 4. As you approach negative 2 from the right, as you approach negative 2 from the right side, so as you get closer and closer to negative 2 from the right, your y values grow up to a value of 1. So what is the limit at negative 2? It does not exist, D and E. So you type in there D and E because these two numbers don't match. There is no limit at negative 2. This implies you're coming at it from both sides at the same time, simultaneously. You're coming at it from both sides. It's supposed to be an arrow. You try again. It's still kind of a lame arrow. All right. You're approaching the value of negative 2 from both sides is what this is telling you. When there's no little symbol up there, it has to come at it from both sides at the same time. So in other words, you ask both of these questions, and if they match, you give that answer. If they don't match, it does not exist. What is f of negative 2? 1, because it's a closed circle there. If this one was closed, then you'd say it's 4. Okay. Let's try the next one. Get an asymptote here. There's a vertical asymptote that's splitting this right down there. Okay? It's saying, what is the limit as you approach 6 from the left? As you approach 6 from the left side, your y values are shooting up to infinity. And I'll get back to this in a second. I know it's a choice, but let me get back to that. Okay? As you approach from the right, your y values also shoot up towards infinity. They both are shooting up towards infinity. Now remember back to the first screen on this? I talked to you about in order for a limit to exist. Where did it go? Come on, there we go. Way back up here. In order for a limit to exist, there has to be a boundary which width you cannot pass. Okay? Kind of like in Lord of the Rings when Gandalf is sitting there and at that bridge and that fiery monster thing is trying to come across the bridge. You shall not pass. And he jams his staff down and breaks the bridge. Okay? It's a boundary with which you cannot pass. It is a number which you cannot exceed. You cannot get bigger than 1. You're not supposed to go faster than 55. That's the limit. Infinity isn't a number, a limit, an actual figure I can place in your hand. So, to me, infinity is not a limit. All right? In this case, they will accept you're putting in the infinity symbol, but I think that's incorrect because that is not, it grows without bound. It is boundless. It is always increasing. It increases without bound. That's not a limit. That's limitless. There is no limit to that. So that's a DNE. It does not exist. Okay, it'll accept both, but I think typing in infinity there is wrong. Okay? From the right side, you're also getting an infinity. That's not a limit. That's a does not exist. Okay? Now, like I said, they'll let you type in infinities in both of them, but again, it'll take either of these, but I think that is incorrect to think of that as a limit. It is limitless. So what is the limit as you approach 6? It does not exist. Okay. Now, what is f of 6? It does not exist. Why? What creates a vertical asymptote? A vertical asymptote is created by a variable in the denominator. In this case, this is what's in the bottom. If you try and fill that 6 in, you're going to get 1 over 0. You can't divide by zeros, folks. Okay? So for all of these, I think it does not exist. Okay? Either way, for sure, that is a does not exist. It's not infinity. I think if I'm wrong, and I believe I've tried this in the software, that it will let you type in infinity, I think that's wrong, and I think you guys will if you have Gauge next year or a prof in college next year, I think they're going to roll their eyes at you if they tell you, or if you tell them infinity is the answer. Okay? On a side note, if I asked you, let me erase all this. If I asked you, what's the limit as x goes to 9? Notice there's no symbol here. So it has to exist from the left and from the right. From the left, its value is -3. But you can't come at it from the right. The function does not exist from the right. So the answer to this question is D and E. Does not exist. Okay? Because you can't approach it from the right. Sure, you can approach from the left. If I had this, you just tell me it's -3. But that isn't there. So it has to imply it's coming from both sides. And you can't come at it from the right, so it does not exist. Okay? I believe that's the last screenshot. Yep. Thank you guys for your time. Again, I apologize for the length. I'm trying to keep these short. Oh my gosh, 12 minutes.